Hey guys, I just want to make a quick review of the Stowa Partitio. I noticed there weren't too many reviews on YouTube of this particular timepiece, so I figured I'd make another one just to give more clarification on what this watch is in case someone was looking to purchase this watch or just want to know more about it. The Partitio is a lesser known line of the Stowa lineup. Usually when you think of Stowa, you think of their big Fliegers or their other pilot watches they have. This is, I think, their hidden gem, and I'll explain why in a minute, but real quick, we'll go over the packaging. So it comes in this kind of metal packaging. The watch comes in this little watch pillow, and you have the Stowa logo here, Schön gut war. For my non-German speaking friends, that means beautiful, good, and true. And then you get the watch, and real quick, so the watch comes on this smooth black leather band. It's not a bad band by any means necessarily. It's nice. It's just, it looks pretty dressy when you have it on this watch. So I opted to put it back on a canvas strap, which makes it a little more casual, I think. A little easier to wear every day. The lug width is 18 millimeters, so you will need to buy 18 millimeter straps if you want to change it out. Of course, I didn't have any at the time, so I had to order a few, wait a little bit and get it. So, but nonetheless, here it is. So like I said, I have it on this gray canvas. Let me just focus real quick. There we go. I also bought it on a khaki colored. This kind of matches the loom a little bit more in the hands, but I like it on this gray, so I'm going to keep it on this gray for now. Is that comes with an instruction booklet, an accordion style, as you can see. It's just a warranty guarantee. Tells you what you bought in the back, the Partitio Classic in white. I opted for the ETA 2804-2 hand wound movement and when you bought it. So what I thought was interesting is that they make no mention of the 2804-2 hand wound movement in the English side of this booklet. They do mention the Partitio right there in an ETA 2824, which again, you can get the automatic version in this watch. So I went over to the German side, and there it is. And still, I couldn't find anything about the 2804-2. They do, however, talk about the 2801-2 Handaufzug, which is hand winding. It's just saying that this is the hand winding version of 2824, 42-hour power reserve. So I don't know differences between the 01 and the 04. If anyone else knows, you can, let me know down below. That'd be great. I'll be curious. But I'm just wondering if Stowa kind of just forgot to mention this movement in the English side, or on the German side. But that's okay. We know what the watch is. So now let's get on to the reason why you guys probably clicked on this video. So here's the Stowa Partitio. You got Stowa in the old-time logo right there. Underneath it'll say Handaufzug, hand winding. If you get the 2824, it would say Automatic underneath Stowa instead of Handaufzug, just for automatic, obviously. And you get Partitio in really small text right below the hands there to keep it with that vintage feel. Partitio means divide in Latin, according to the Stowa website. So this is the basic three-hand watch. You got your syringe hands, and you got a silver seconds hand without a counterbalance, which is interesting. You don't see too many watches without that. It really adds to the minimalism of the dial. I think it's a very clean dial. It's a very legible dial. I can very easily tell that it is 10, 16, 17. Yeah, I changed the time to try to move the hands away from the, the logo before, but obviously it's not lined up correctly with the seconds hand and the minute hand. But I digress. So you got the numbers in a creamed colored loom. It glows a bright green when in darkness. Let me just wipe off fingerprints here. And you get a small index on the outer ring showing the minutes, the 5, 10, 15, 20, which is nice. So like I said, it's very easy to read what time it is with this dial. A nice detail that is one of my favorite details of this watch is how the second hand extends to the outer ring of the index. Really gives a nice sweep look to it. So this movement does beat at 8 beats a second. I think it's 28,800 BPH. Not too sure. I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's 8 beats per second. So this is standard ETA speeds. It is faster than your normal Seikos, which beat at 4 beats per second. So it gives it that more sweet look instead of that juddery ticks that you get from Seikos. So I'll shut up for a minute. I'll let you guys watch the hands go around the dial. Like I said, it is hand winding. Which I think the hand winding is a nice feature to have in a vintage inspired watch. And then let's go to the back of the watch, which is where a lot of us are interested in as well. And oh my, Stowa did a nice job with this. So this is a ETA 2804 that Stowa hand assembles, I think, in their factory, and they add, you know, their little logo there. So it is made in Germany. They're a small company in the Black Forest of Germany. They all hand make their watches using ETA parts. They don't sell to a middleman like Tourneau or Vempe, which cuts down on the cost of the watch. So you get these watches at a pretty fair price. When I was looking for a German minimalistic watch, it was between the Nomos Club 38 or this watch, and the Club 38 was about double the price of this watch. Meanwhile, I think, you know, the quality is almost identical between the two companies. It's amazing what Stowa did here. There's not one imperfection I can find in this watch. Other than, real quick, talking about imperfections, the only thing I wish this thing had was anti-reflective on the Sapphire Crystal. As you can see, you'll get a glare no matter where you go. But, again, if they wanted to be true to vintage, you know, back then they wouldn't have that AR coating, so I'll give them a pass on that. But it is nice to have AR coating, which unfortunately this does not. So this is a Sapphire Crystal, and the case back is also a Sapphire Crystal. But let's get back to the movement here. So like I said, beats at 8 beats a second. That's why the balance wheel is going pretty quickly there. You can see the escapement a little bit. Wait, let's see. Let me focus in if you can see this better. There we go. So you can almost see that escapement wheel right where the light I'm shining right there, right underneath it. So made in Germany, Stowa since 1927, Partitio, hand winding, stainless steel, and waterproof to 5 ATM. So you can wear this watch out in the rain without having to worry about it. Please do not wear this in the shower or go go swimming with it. You will ruin this watch. So just be smart with it. I don't understand why people do that anyway, but it's neither here nor there. So it's nice you get blued screws. You got that Côte de Genève finishing on this little bridge plate right over here. That's what it's called, I'm not sure. Not a watchmaker, so I apologize if I'm using terms incorrectly. You got your big spring wheels there. Let's see if I can wind that. There you go. I mean, what a beautiful watch they made. And it's thin, too. I think it's 11 millimeters thick. And going over dimensions again, this is a 37 millimeter watch. However, I think it wears a little large, actually, considering the fact that this watch is pretty much all dial. I mean, there's barely any bezel on this watch. So if you're concerned that 37 millimeters might be too small, I'd say still try it out, because this wears honestly more like a 38, 39. I'll show wrist shots in a second, but I was shocked to see that. I thought it was going to be a little small, but I was very pleasantly surprised when I put on my wrist. I'm like, wow, this actually looks perfect. So let me just put it on the wrist real quick for you. So I have a 7-inch wrist. You can try to compare that with yours if you want, but I mean, the size is going to be just perfect. Let me just try to focus. Try and do this one-handed. There we go. Okay. So it just fills my wrist up perfectly. Like I said, this does not feel like a 37 millimeter. So to give you a size comparison, I'll put on a 36. You can see how this looks a little small, but still is good enough for my wrist. I tend to like smaller watches anyway, so I don't mind. This is a 36 on my wrist. As you can see, it's kind of a nice difference between the two. I think the fact that the dial is so much smaller on the Black Bay 36 is the reason why it looks so small. Considering the fact that the dial's huge on the Stowa makes it look a lot bigger. And I'll do one more comparison for you guys. I have a 39 millimeter. I'll put on, just bear with me for 1 second, please. Thank you. And this is what a 39 looks like on my wrist. And then we'll put it up against the 37 millimeter Stowa. So look, these watches look almost the same size, I think. And yet this is 2 millimeters smaller. And like I said, it has a lot to do with how big that dial is. So, like I said, don't be scared of the size if you think it's too small. I think it will fit perfectly on a lot of wrist sizes. And I have a semi-decent wrist here with coming in at 7 inches, so it's just a beautiful watch. You guys cannot go wrong with this. I mean, just look at that. It's just perfect. The dial printing on it, the crisp lines it has. There's no imperfections whatsoever on this dial. And to come with a ETA 2804, service costs are going to be, you know, relatively cheap. You know, any watchmaker can service an ETA movement. You go to Nomos, you know, these in-house brands, you're going to pay an arm and a leg to get these things serviced. With this, you know, 7 years down the road, I can go to any watchmaker and they'll easily be able to service this. So, another thing to keep in mind, you know, I kind of like these bang for the buck type watches, and Stowa is definitely a brand that offers a lot of value for a very fair price. You know, you'll get Omega or Nomos, you know, you're paying a lot of money for, you know, pretty much almost the same quality as this. Sure, they have in-house movements, and if you really care about that, then great, you know. Like I said, I kind of like these cheaper movements just because, first of all, they're accurate as heck. This Tudor I get is plus 1 seconds a day. That's well within cost certification, and it has an ETA 2824 in it, so. But if you do want the prestige of having an in-house movement, by all means, I get it. I do get it. It's just I like to save money sometimes, so. So I apologize for rambling on about a lot of stuff during this review. Like I said, it's supposed to be a quick review. Now we're reaching around 13 minutes here, so I'll end it now. But if you guys have any other questions, if I miss anything, which I probably did, please let me know down in the comments. I'll try to get back to you with information with that. I hope this has been a little helpful, at least, in case you were interested in this watch. Yeah. Thanks, guys.